Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm and you are watching 9th part of What If Naruto Was Betrayed and Destroyed the Akatsuki. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
The next morning, as the sun rose, it would be the last sunrise Sakari would ever see. Because his battle with Daisuke for his life had not gone as planned. For while Sakari had diligently trained in Yoruichi's realm for the past 2 weeks, which would be equivalent to about 6 months of hard training in this realm in the use of Kido, he had mostly ignored training in the use of weapons. The arrogant bandit had assumed that using Kido spells from a distance would be easier than getting his hands dirty from actual fighting. Unfortunately, Sakari had overlooked the fact that summoning the power and speaking the incantations required to cast a Kido spell on an enemy takes time. And Daisuke wasn't giving him that time, because his fellow bandit had descended on Sakari in an instant when their fight began. Sakari barely had time to dodge Daisuke's initial strike and had spent the majority of the battle running and dodging the physical attacks of his opponent's massive axe. Daisuke, on the other hand, had spent more time training in the use of weapons and hand-to-hand combat. In contrast to his opponent, he had not neglected training in the use of Kido. So, the few times Sakari was able to unleash a Kido attack, Daisuke knew enough defensive Kido counter spells to render the attack useless. It was one of those counter spells that had exploded on contact with his Kido attack that had knocked Sakari to the ground, where he lay motionless as Daisuke approached, twirling his axe. Sakari realized he only had one chance to win this fight: play dead until Daisuke was close enough to strike. He waited patiently for his opponent, concealing a dagger inside his shirt sleeve. Sakari saw his chance for a hit when he saw Daisuke raise his axe with one arm to cleave his foe's head and suddenly exploded off the ground and thrust his arm forward, expecting to drive his dagger straight through Daisuke's chest. However, Sakari was taken aback by Daisuke's speed and strength when the Crimson Blade Bandit's most famous axeman grabbed his wrist, effectively stopping his blade from moving any further. Sakari's eyes widened as he realized what was about to happen, but it was too late for him to correct his error. Sakari's first thought as he looked down at the massive axe buried in his chest was pain, intense, mind-numbing pain. His head sagged forward as he felt his lung fill up with blood. Grabbing Daisuke's arm for support, his vision began to dim around the edges. He stood motionless, his chakra plummeting dangerously as he struggled to stay upright. He imagined himself laughing. Daisuke was the one. The strong man gripped his axe high above him slowly and without remorse. Sakari teme, yane. Daisuke brought his weapon down in a murderous arc, cleaving Sakari in half from the top of his head to his crotch. Well, that was an entertaining fight, Shunsui, Naruto remarked as he watched the two halves of the now eviscerated Sakari fall apart in a bloody heap, while Daisuke calmly wiped Sakai's blood from his axe blade. Indeed, as I previously stated, Daisuke is nearly as strong as a high-ranking lieutenant and has greatly benefited from the training. Good, he'll need to be, because I'm not sure how strong the Akatsuki's followers are. If you don't need me anymore, Naruto-sama, I have some other matters to attend to. Actually, I do need you because I need you to answer some questions I have about yesterday. The former Gote 13 captain indicated his acceptance with a nod. First and foremost, who was that blonde man glaring daggers at me yesterday, and what was his story? His name is Kira Izuru, and he's a former lieutenant of the Soul Society's Gote 13 Guard. So he, like you, is a former Soul Reaper. Hi, he is. We found him and the young girl you saw with him when we went to Yoruichi's special realm for the training. Her name is Hinamori Momo, and she, too, is a former lieutenant within the Gote 13 Guard. Remember when I told you about the Shinigami, Arrancar war we fought 400 years ago? I recall Shunsui. Then you remember that in the final battle of the war, the Shinigami and the Arankar unleashed all of our powers at once, ripping a hole through the fabric of time and space, resulting in all of the combatants being flung throughout the history of time, and while we thought that only Old Man Yama, myself, and Yoruichi-chan were each thrown into this time period, it appears that both of them had been as well. What is his issue with me? I spoke with Kira last night, and the reason he became so enraged was primarily due to your behavior yesterday with Sakari's servant Mako, which scared Momo. You scare Momo. There you have it, that's his problem with me. Well, to be fair, you can be a scary guy. So he's mad at me because I scare his little girlfriend. It's a little more complicated than that, and Kira and Momo's relationship is more of a pseudo-older brother-little sister dynamic than a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. Explain? Naruto inquired. From my conversation with Kira many years ago when he found Momo, she was on the verge of dying. She was sickly, malnourished, and had basically lost the will to live. Why? You remember I said the Shinigami Arankar War was started by a former captain of the 5th Division in the Gotei 13, his name was Sosuke Aizen, and Momo was his first lieutenant. Sosuke's betrayal of the Soul Society hit her the hardest, as she greatly admired and possibly even loved the man. Even after his betrayal, Momo continued to believe in Sosuke's innocence. It wasn't until... well, there's nothing I can do about it now. Perhaps I went a little overboard in dealing with Mako, but I wanted to send a message to everyone about the consequences of harming one of my precious people. Will she or Kira cause me problems in the future? No, I've spoken to both and explained the impending battle and the reasons for it. They agree that it is for a noble cause to free a nation and only wish to assist you in doing so. Will they be of any use in the battle? Hello, Naruto-sama. I would assign Kira to the Medical Corps platoon, as he is a skilled healer and fighter in case that squad comes under enemy fire. As for Momo, I would assign her as a lieutenant to a strong frontline combat squad under a powerful captain. She may not look it, but she's a skilled fighter, and her Zanpakuto too can unleash some powerful fire attacks. You say fire attacks, I think I know exactly who and where she should be assigned, whether the Teme likes it or not, Naruto smirked before adding. Alright, Shunsui, you've done well for me over the last few weeks, thank you, and you're free to go. Before I leave, Naruto-sama, I'd like to explain something about Yoruichi and me. Yoruichi and I have known each other for a long time, long before we both joined the Gotei 13. We trained together at the academy and accomplished so much before joining the divisions, and when you live as long as we do, your timetable changes. I'll confess my feelings for her tomorrow, becomes something that needs to be done next week, then next year, then a decade later. Sometimes centuries later. Shunsui paused for a moment in reflective thought before proceeding. As I previously stated, we've known each other for centuries and there has always been a certain sexual tension between us. Working in such close quarters while training your Crimson Army. Our baser instincts just took hold of us one night. We thought it would be a one-time occurrence, but when we awoke the next morning, we both discovered something neither of us had imagined we were capable of or possessed within us. What was it? Naruto inquired, intrigued. We discovered genuine feelings of affection for one another. That must have come as a surprise to both of you. It was, as we had always lived our lives with reckless abandon, free-spirited with carefree emotions, and always alone. I thought my feelings for her had faded long ago, but they hadn't, because the thought of my life without her in it makes me very sad, and Yoruichi expressed similar sentiments to me. I know Yoruichi expressed her feelings for you before we left. I'm not sure if you had feelings for her before we left on the training mission, but if you did, please accept my heartfelt apologies for what happened. There's nothing to apologize for. In fact, I'm relieved that you took her off my hands. I already have too many women who are inexplicably thrusting their way into my life. I don't need any more. I wish you both the best as long as you are happy together. Thank you, Shunsui said politely, bowing in respect. Now that I have other things to attend to, you may go, Shunsui. Just make sure that everyone I told you to gather earlier is at the meeting this afternoon. It will be completed. As Naruto entered the medical tent, he noticed Hinata helping Ino drink a cup of water, and a small smile spread across his face in relief as he approached. So, doctor, I assume the patient will survive? Hi Naru-kun. Fortunately the arrow missed any vital organs, so Ino-chan will be fully recovered in a day or so. That's great to hear. What were you thinking when you were with Kawarimi and took that arrow? I wasn't thinking, Ino said defensively. You are correct. Hinata gave Naruto a stern look as she walked away to give the two some privacy, and Naruto simply sighed in frustration at the look he received from Hinata before hearing Ino say. I meant I didn't think about it, it was just a reflex because I didn't want you to be hurt, Ino said softly before asking. Do you still despise me, Naruto-ku? Naruto? Why would you ask that of me? Do you recall the last time we saw each other? Naruto grimaced slightly as that memory flashed back to him. A year ago today. Naruto hadn't even bothered to change out of his blood-stained Anbu uniform after reporting to Tsunade and dropping off the report of his latest successful mission. Instead, the moment he left the Hokage's office, he found the nearest bar and purchased a bottle of very high-proof sake for himself. As Naruto sat on a bench atop Hokage Mountain, all he wanted to do was get drunk and watch the setting sun. Alone. Hey, Dobi, it's been a while. Naruto's cold reply and the icy disinterested look he directed towards all of them unnerved the Uchiha a little before he said. I heard you've been doing a lot of Anbu missions recently. Have you just returned from one? Yeah, Naruto replied, taking another drink from the bottle in the same unemotional and cold tone of voice. A pall of uneasy silence engulfed the seven people like a death shroud. Sakura, Kiba, and Shikamaru shifted nervously on their feet, while Hinata and Ino couldn't even look at Naruto and kept their heads bowed in shame and remorse. After a minute, it was Sasuke who spoke up to break the oppressive tension of the moment. We just came up here to watch the sunset before everyone went out to dinner. Why don't you come with us and we'll catch up? Naruto slammed the remaining sake from his bottle before rising from the bench and casually throwing the empty bottle over his shoulder, the sound of breaking glass not bothering him at all as he leveled a hard glare at the group of people standing before him. Naruto then spat on the ground before reaching around and grabbing his Anbu mask. What was that all about, and what was wrong with the Dobi? Did you notice the mask? Kiba inquired, his voice tense. We saw it, but I had no idea it was Naruto wearing it, Shikamaru replied uncomfortably. What exactly do you mean? Sasuke inquired. That's the mask worn by the Anbu operative known as Crimson. Naruto is the Crimson Anbu. A troubled and muffled silence seemed to envelope the group, as everyone had heard about the Crimson Anbu, the man who had completed more ANS-class missions and killed more enemy shinobi in 1 year than most Anbu would accomplish in their entire careers. A sense of guilt began to well inside everyone after seeing Naruto, save for Kiba because he didn't care and Sasuke because he didn't know that the people around him were the cause of the terror. Flashback concludes. I remember Ino, Naruto replied solemnly. I recall it as well. I remember the hatred you directed at all of us, and I knew I was to blame. So that's why I asked the question, do you still hate me, Naruto? Naruto sighed deeply before responding. It wasn't hatred that I felt towards all of you that evening, Ino. Yes, there is anger, but not hatred. Sasuke's casual invitation to me, as if we were still friends, irritated me. As if I was still friends with everyone. It had never occurred to me that he had no idea what the rest of you had done to me. I assumed he knew and didn't care because he was still with Sakura and hanging out with the rest of you. So don't take full responsibility for my reaction to all of you that night, Ino. Except for Sasuke, the rest of you shared my rage at seeing you all go about your business as if nothing was wrong. Because it was so diametrically opposed to where my life was at the time, I let my rage take over. You have yet to respond to my question. I've never disliked you, Ino, or any of you. I'm not sure why, given the betrayals you all willingly committed against me, but for some strange reason, I never felt hatred towards any of you. Are you still mad at me? For a long time, I was angry with you. With all of you. However, I knew that allowing myself to drown in my rage would cost me my life as an Anbu. So I had to let go of my anger in order to let go of all of my emotions in order to survive. So, no, I no longer harbor any ill will toward you or anyone else. What are your thoughts on all of us? On me, Naruto? My only feelings for all of you before I left the village were indifference. Sakura then had to seek me out and apologize. That night, I realized I hadn't let go of my anger, but had instead buried it deep within me. That's why I left the village. If Sakura could set off my rage, it could happen to any of you. I don't understand. You say you left the village because of the rage you still felt, but now you have no resentment for me or anyone else. What happened between the time you left the village the night before and now? Ino inquired, perplexed. What happened was that Fate or Kami delivered Nel-chan to me, and that little girl began to crack the wall I had built around my heart before I even realized it. Then Yugito-chan arrived, and the crack in the wall widened even more as she surrounded her. Finally, Hinaheim returned to my life, and I discovered the truth behind her perceived betrayal of me. And, while it took me some time to accept Hinata's sacrifice, the love she has for me eventually brought that wall around my heart tumbling down. It's the love that all three of them have shown me since I left the village that has finally allowed me to let go of my anger rather than just bury it. That is why I can honestly say to you, Ino, that I no longer harbor any ill will toward you. I'm relieved you're no longer angry with me, but could you please tell me how you feel about me now? Because I love Naruto-kun, I've never stopped loving you over the last 2 years, and I know I don't want to live a life without you. As a tear streamed down Ino's cheek, she asked softly. Naruto sighed and sat by her bedside, taking the blonde Kunoichi's hand in his own and saying, I know you have feelings for me, and I'll admit I still have feelings for you, but I'm still hurt by what you promised you'd never do to me. But did. I know I hurt you, Naruto-kun, and if I could go back 2 years to that terrible night when I betrayed your love, I would. I believe you, Ino-chan, but it's difficult for me to forgive you after what you did. In a way, your betrayal was the worst of all after what Sakura did to me and then losing Hinata-chan. I put all of my faith and trust in the love I felt for you and the love you said you felt for me, so when you left me, it's a pain I'm afraid of experiencing again if I let you back into my life. I don't understand, you can forgive Hinata but not me? Ino asked, her voice choked, as fresh tears streamed down her cheeks. I was able to forgive Hinata's betrayal because I learned the truth behind it, that she didn't have a choice but to do what she did in order to save her sister. Your betrayal, while I realize you deeply regret it now, was still one that you willingly chose to do, unlike Hinata. You're right, Naruto-kun, I was given a choice back then, and I chose wrong, and I've hated myself for it ever since. As much as I want to blame Shikamaru for manipulating me, I can't, because all he did was confess his feelings for me and ask me to choose. Naruto grimaced slightly as the image of Ino and Shikamaru together that night flashed through his mind, before Ino spoke again in a sorrowful tone. I understand if you think you'll never forgive me for what I did to you, because I've never forgiven myself for what I did to you, but please believe me when I say I swear to you I'm not lying when I say I love you. The only lie I've ever told you was 2 years ago when I said I didn't. This is why I'm out here. I love you, Naruto-kun, and I just want to be with you, if you will have me. Ino-chan, I can't, I'm with Hinata-chan now. I won't betray her like I was betrayed just to be with you. I couldn't do that to her. I'm sorry, Ino-chan. Even after what you did to me, I still love you. Why I still love you, I don't know, but what I do know is we can never be, Naruto sadly declared, before rising and walking out of the tent, passing. Hinata went over to comfort Ino when she noticed tears streaming down her face. What's the matter, Ino-chan? This is Naruto-kun, and he claims to still love me. Then why are you so depressed when you should be happy? I'm glad he still loves me, but he says we can't because he's with you now. Yes, I see. I can't even be mad at him for it. He loves you and will never betray you like Sakura did to him. I don't know why I even thought there could be a relationship between Naruto and me after I learned about you two being back together. Naruto wouldn't be Naruto to do something like that, and to be honest, I completely understand him because I would never do that to you either. We already discussed it, and I told you that I don't mind sharing Naruto-kun because I know you love him and he loves you, and I love you too, and I want to see all of us happy. We just need to convince him that he can love us both and be happy. I adore you, Hinata-chan, but I don't think we'll be able to persuade Naruto-kun. He's loyal to you, and you know as well as I do that loyalty is one of his strongest nindo. I'll speak to him, and if he's still being stubborn, we'll just have to show him how much we both love him, and I've got just the idea on how to do that, Hinata said confidently before leaning in and whispering into Ino's ear as she listened to the Hyuga girl speak. Sasuke knelt on one knee, exhausted and panting for air. After witnessing one of Naruto's men brutally murder another in a combat trial, Sasuke had decided that he needed more training in order to activate the second stage of his Bankai. He had vowed not to let his surrogate brother surpass him in their Zanpakuto training as he had in the shinobi arts after witnessing Naruto accomplish that feat the day before. Plus, Sasuke knew that if he was going to defeat Madara and avenge his clan, he needed to unlock the second stage. A twig snap alerted the Uchiha to the presence of another, and he leapt up and growled. I know you're out there somewhere. Show yourself. A young woman emerged from behind a tree, hesitantly approaching Sasuke with a tray. Her raven-colored hair was pulled into a bun and held in place by a simple white-tied cloth. She came to a halt in front of Sasuke and, without looking up at him, said timidly, I apologize for bothering you, Uchiha-san, but Naruto-sama has assigned me as your first lieutenant for the upcoming battle against the Akatsuki if you agree to participate, and has also ordered me to bring you some lunch. Ordered you, huh? Can you tell me exactly what Naruto-sama said? Well. I promise you won't get in trouble if you just tell me what he said. He said go to the Teme for some lunch to replenish his strength before the emo duck butt collapses from trying to unlock his Bankai. Yes, I see. Please don't say anything to Naruto-sama. You promised me I wouldn't get in trouble if I did. I promised that, and a Uchiha keeps his word. No, I'm not going to say anything to Naruto-sama. Thank you very much, Uchiha-san. What's your name, sweetheart? Uchiha-san, Hinamori Momo. Please, no more Uchiha-san. Just call me Sasuke. Alright, Sasuke-san. I mean Sasuke. Well, There appears to be a lot of food here. Tell me, Momo, have you eaten lunch yet? No, sir, I haven't, but I shouldn't bother you, and I'm not hungry and... Grr. From the sound of your stomach growling, I'd say you're hungry. Please stay and join me for lunch. I shouldn't have, sir. Not sir, just Sasuke. After all, you wouldn't want me to tell Naruto-sama that you turned down a simple request to share a meal with me, would you? Momo silently chewed on the bottom of her lip, debating what to do. Sasuke found the girl's nervousness and innocence endearing and said so. So, if you're going to be my first lieutenant, tell me about yourself and your fighting abilities. I promise Momo, I don't bite. I just don't want to dine alone, and I'd much rather have the company of a pretty girl while I eat. Momo's face flushed furiously at being called pretty, before nodding her head in acceptance, and both she and Sasuke sat down under the shade of a tree. Staring at the young Uchiha, the way he spoke and acted reminded her of Toshiro so many years ago, which brought a small smile to her face. Naruto watched intently as his command tent filled with the final members he had requested for this meeting, then cleared his throat and announced confidently. Now that everyone has arrived, I've decided that we will leave in a few days to rescue Princess Yukiya Fujikaze and liberate the Spring Country from the Akatsuki. As you are all aware, the Akatsuki are an organization comprised of S-ranked criminals. Many of these are missing nins who fled their villages after wreaking havoc. Oi, what is this guy's Naruto goal? Sama's. Zaraki, their goal is to capture all Jinchuriki like me and extract their Biju from them. Some of you may be aware that a Biju is a tailed beast demon that lives within our bodies. The number of tails on a demon's body determines its identity. The host dies when the Biju is removed from the Jinchuriki's body. While removing their Biju, the Akatsuki have already captured and killed 6 Jinchuriki. The only Jinchuriki that remain are the 8 tails Hachibi held by Killer Bee, the 2 tails Nibi held by Yugito, and the 9 tails Kyuubi no Yuko held by me. So, Yugito, what happens if these Akatsuki guys get a hold of you and this Killer Bee? Simply put, Shunsui, our Biju will be removed, and we will die, unleashing the power of all tailed beast demons on the planet. If that happens, we will all fall because such a power cannot be stopped, which is why we must eliminate the Akatsuki once and for all. I've already begun by eliminating Suigetsu, but I'll need everyone's help in this tent to finish off the remaining Akatsuki members. What plans do you have? This is what I have in mind for you, Yoruichi. Right now, there are 3 Shinigami captains and 3 Junin-level shinobi sitting beside you in this tent, not to mention myself and Yugito as living Jinchuriki. We now have enough people to match the strength and power of all the remaining Akatsuki. I propose that certain individuals take on specific Akatsuki members and permanently remove them. Who will I be fighting, and keep in mind that I only want to fight a strong opponent. Don't worry, Zaraki. The opponents we'll be facing are very strong, and I'm confident they'll give you the fierce and bloody battle you crave, Naruto assured the Shinigami before turning to face his Konoha guests. To my former Leaf Village comrades sitting before me, if you help me destroy the Akatsuki once and for all, after it is over, I will return voluntarily to Konoha with you, but only to visit Ba-chan. I make no promises about staying once I get there. Do we have an agreement to those terms? Kakashi, Kurenai, and Sasuke all exchanged contemplative glances before nodding their heads in agreement. Kakashi then returned his attention to Naruto and declared, "We accept those terms, Naruto. We'll assist you in eliminating the Akatsuki." "Arigato," Naruto replied, before bowing slightly in gratitude to them. "We should prepare a battle plan and strategies for this fight," Naruto stated Kakashi. Shunsui agreed, saying, "I concur." I agree, which is why I dispatched a shadow clone to the Spring Country a few days ago to gather as much intelligence as possible before dispersing and transmitting everything he learned back to me. He should arrive in Spring Country tomorrow. How do you keep a shadow clone going over such a long distance? Kurenai was taken aback. I infused a small amount of Kurama's chakra into my clone, so he should last a few days before that chakra wears out. Who exactly is Kurama? The Kyuubi no Yuko Shunsui's true name is Kurama. And this Kyuubi will aid you in your fight against the Akatsuki? Yes, Kurama assisted in the defeat of Madara during the Fourth Great Shinobi War and will do so again. Since all of you will be platoon commanders in this army, I'll leave it up to the 6 of you to decide who your troops will be. Shunsui has reports on all of the Crimson soldiers who completed the training's strengths and weaknesses. I'll join in for a few minutes to go over the reports on the men we'll be leading into battle with you. I need to talk to Hinata about the medical platoon she'll be in charge of during the war right now. A few minutes later, Naruto entered the medical tent to look for Hinata. He saw Ino peacefully sleeping and was relieved she was going to be okay, but the memory of their earlier conversation crept back into his mind. He hadn't meant to be harsh with her, but he wouldn't inflict the pain he had felt upon discovering Sakura's infidelity on Hinata just to be with Ino. Kami, it would be so much easier if I could just hate Ino-chan after what she did like any sane normal person would, rather than still harboring some feelings of love for her, Naruto grumbled to himself. Naru-kun, a voice said, breaking his thoughts. Can we talk, Hinaheim? I just zoned out there for a moment. Of course, but let's go for a walk so we don't bother Ino and the other patients, Hinata sweetly replied before signaling Ayame to keep an eye on the patients while she was gone. Naruto finally spoke up and said as the young couple walked around the outskirts of the encampment, holding hands and enjoying the pleasant day. Hinaheim, I've decided to form a medical platoon to supplement the 6 combat platoons that will fight the Madara and the Akatsuki. This medical platoon will treat our forces wounded and remain in the rear of the front lines to heal any casualties and get them back into the fight as soon as possible. I've also decided that you will be the commander of this medical platoon, along with Ino, a man named Kira Izuru, and Daisuke's wife Ayame as your lieutenants, and Daisuke's wife Ayame as your head nurse. Hinata drew away from Naruto, walking a few feet away with her arms crossed and facing away from him. Naruto sensed something was wrong and hesitantly called out to her, asking with concern. Is everything okay, Hinaheim? You tell me I don't know Naru-kun. Why did you keep me out of the fight? I want to help you defeat your opponents, not just stand by and watch you and your friends fight without me. Do you believe I'm that frail and a burden to assist you? Hinata inquired softly, her hurt evident in her tone. Naruto encircled Hinata in a tight hug, surprising the lavender-eyed girl with sincerity and assurance. No, my Heim, you're completely wrong. I would never think of you as weak or a burden. I need your skills as a medic more than I need them as a fighter on the front lines. There will be casualties from this battle, Hinata-chan, and thanks to Ba-chan Tsunade, you are the only one with extensive medical training. The Akatsuki have a large following, which is why I needed the Crimson Bandits to combat them. But I care about them, and I don't want to waste them. So I need you and your incredible medical skills to help as many of them as possible survive this fight. Please don't think you won't play an important role in this upcoming battle, because you will be playing one of the most important roles of all, saving lives. Do you understand what I'm saying? I see what you mean. I'm sorry. I just didn't want to be kept safe because I was deemed weak, Hinata responded with tears as she hugged the man she loved with all her might. I would never, ever think that about you. Naruto and Hinata finally separated after another minute of loving embrace, and Hinata looked up to Naruto and asked. Can I talk to you about something, Naru-kun? What exactly is it, Hinaheim? I'd like to speak with you about Ino-chan. Naruto's face creased slightly as he heard Hinata's topic of discussion, and he stated with disappointment, exhaling a heavy sigh. We've already spoken about Ino. I don't think there's anything else to say. I just have one question for you, and if you answer truthfully, I promise not to bring it up again. Will you help me with that? Hey, I'll do it for you. What specifically do you want to inquire about? Naruto replied, his voice slightly frustrated. Do you still have feelings for Ino-chan? Naruto remained silent and only looked to the ground. Do you still have feelings for Ino-chan? Hinata asked again, irritated by Naruto's lack of response, and after another minute or two, she began to ask again before being interrupted. Are you still in love with Ino-ch? Is that what you want to hear, Hinaheim? Yes, I still love her, I'm not sure why given what she did to me, but I do. But I also love you, and we're back together, so it doesn't matter if I still love Ino-chan or if she loves me. Nothing will ever stop me from loving you and wanting to be with you forever. I'd rather die than hurt you, so anything between Ino-chan and me is in the past and will remain so. Now that I've answered your question, please don't bring it up again. Now I have to go talk to the others about their platoons and the men they're selecting for their troops. I'll see you later this evening because I adore you, Naruto replied in pained exasperation before kissing Hinata on the cheek and quickly exiting the tent. Hinata sat down and closed her eyes, lost in thought. Oh Naru-kun, I love you too, and I appreciate your loyalty and devotion to me, but Ino-chan loves you just as much as I do, and I'm afraid you've left us with no choice but to show you how much we both love you now. When Kakashi entered his tent in the late evening, he was exhausted. He had spent most of the day going over reports on the men they would be leading into battle with Shunsui, Kenpachi, Sasuke, Kurenai, Yoruichi, and Naruto, and they had successfully created 6 combat platoons that each of them would lead and 1 medical platoon that Hinata was in charge of with regards to their upcoming war against the Akatsuki. Kakashi would have liked to say that his noble gesture to help keep the encampment safe was in gratitude for the hospitality he had received from its inhabitants when he arrived, but the one-eyed Junin knew that was a lie and that his true reason for guard duty was to avoid Kurenai, who had yet to speak to him since Kakashi had rescued the Junin Kunoichi from being attacked the day before. The silver-haired Junin was stunned to see Kurenai land unceremoniously on her buttocks onto his bedroll, as the Kunoichi groused while rubbing her backside. Not what I was expecting, Kakashi. Better than the one you sent me yesterday. Kurenai winced as she heard Kakashi's angry, pained tone. Looking up at the silver-haired Junin, it broke Kurenai's heart to see him turn away from her and grab a canteen before taking a drink from it. Kakashi? He asked, his voice slightly bitter. What do you desire? I wanted to say I'm sorry about what happened yesterday. The red-eyed Kunoichi stammered, as contritely as she could. HMPH, sorry for what? I mean, I guess I should be apologizing to you. Had I known I was interrupting something you wanted, I never would have. Slap. Kakashi couldn't finish what he was about to say before Kurenai slapped the masked Junin across the face, screaming with rage and tears welling in her eyes. Don't you dare make a joke or trivialize what almost happened to me yesterday. It's a nightmare that all Kunoichi live in and is in no way amusing. Kakashi immediately regretted his dismissive remark about what had happened the day before, letting go of the anger and hurt he had felt from Kurenai's response to his rescue and encircling the Genjutsu mistress in a hug, repentantly saying, "You're right, it's not something to make light of or dismiss lightly. I apologize, Kurenai-chan." Kurenai struggled for a moment when Kakashi suddenly hugged her, but stopped when he heard his remorseful apology and returned the copy embrace, Nin's burying her face into the crook of his neck. Kakashi felt the tears that streamed from Kurenai's face fall upon his shoulder, before slowly rolling down his chest, and the sweet fragrance of Kurenai's hair wafted up to his nose as. Please believe me when I say that I'm deeply sorry for how I treated you yesterday. I appreciate everything you did, even if I didn't express it properly. I'm not sure I understand Kurenai reaction chans to my intervention. I wasn't expecting you to fall to your knees and thank me for what I did. But I wasn't expecting a punch in the face for assisting you, Kakashi inquired, wiping a tear from Kurenai's cheek with his thumb. Kurenai's face flushed slightly as Kakashi brushed her tear away, and she was flustered by the action and his address of her with the suffix chan added to her name, so she stammered, turning around to hide her blush from the silver-haired Junin. I'm not sure why I reacted that way. I guess I was angry and ashamed that I had to be rescued in such a way. For Kami's sake, I'm a Leaf Village Junin. I should have been able to handle the situation myself, but I couldn't because I let my guard down. So I lashed out at you for saving me because I was embarrassed at not being able to save myself. I don't like being the stereotypical damsel in distress who always needs a man to save her. I had worked hard to reach the rank of Junin, and I was furious at myself for letting that scum get the upper hand on me. I'm so sorry I took my own rage and directed it at you, Kakashi-kun. Kakashi-kun? Kakashi said, perplexed. Kurenai chuckled slightly before turning to face her fellow Leaf Junin and saying, Kakashi-kun, yes. Since you've been referring to me as Kurenai-chan for the past few minutes, I felt it was the proper way to address you. Now it was Kakashi's turn to blush slightly, as he hadn't realized he'd been doing so, and he quickly turned around while stammering in an attempt to hide his blush from the crimson-eyed Kunoichi. I'm sorry, Kurenai-cha. I didn't realize I was doing that. Kurenai's response was to embrace Kakashi from behind again, this time rubbing her cheek against his naked back and closing her eyes softly saying, You don't have to apologize for addressing me as Kakashi-kun. I actually like it when you do. Kakashi couldn't take it any longer and turned around, ripping off his mask as his lips collided with Kurenai's. The brunette Kunoichi was taken aback for a moment by the force of Kakashi's unexpected kiss. Kurenai opened her mouth to exhale, which Kakashi took full advantage of by slipping his tongue between her lips and fiercely dancing with her own. Kakashi eventually broke away from the passionate kiss and used his mouth to attack Kurenai's neck and jawline. A small moan of pleasure escaped Kurenai's mouth as she felt his hand reach around and tightly grasp her ass, pulling her tight against him while continuing to place soft, wet, and hot kisses from her ear to her collarbone. As Kakashi continued to leave kisses down her neck, Kurenai reached out to run her fingers through his soft touchable hair, while rubbing the back of his neck before pulling his face back up into a smoldering kiss once again. Kurenai reluctantly broke away after a few minutes of their tongues ravaging each other, and Kakashi renewed his passionate attack on her neck by placing gentle feather-like kisses on it as she arched her head back to expose more of her neck to him before saying in a rasping and panting voice, Kakashi-kun, I think I've fallen in love with you, but I need to know if you feel the same because I don't want this to be a one-night stand. Kakashi paused his loving caresses on Kurenai's neckline, lifted his head to look directly into the crimson-colored eyes of the woman he held in his arms, and stated unequivocally, Hello, my crimson-eyed goddess, I love you, and I would be devastated if I thought this was a one-time occurrence between us. I want to be with you forever, if you would do me the honor of allowing me. Kurenai shed a single tear of joy as she heard no hesitation in his voice or sensed any insincerity in what Kakashi said. I would like that very much, Kurenai replied lovingly as she and Kakashi kissed again and knelt down onto his bedroll, removing each other's clothing in a passionate frenzy. What is it? Sasuke asked, annoyed at being awakened so early in the morning. Rubbing his eyes, he noticed Momo standing in his tent, looking down at the ground and wringing her hands nervously. Sasuke felt a bit ashamed at venting his annoyance at the young girl and stated apologetically, while rising from his bedroll. "I apologize, Momo. I didn't mean to snap at you like that. What do you require?" "I was sent to inform you, Uchiha-san, that..." "Eep." Momo started to say, only to stop and blush furiously when she saw Sasuke standing before her in only his bikini brief underwear. Turning quickly to hide her embarrassment, Sasuke suddenly realized the state of his dress and chuckled, before grabbing his pants and putting them on while saying, "I apologize again, Momo. I didn't mean to upset you. Now what is it you wish to tell me?" You didn't upset me, Uchiha-san, I was just..." Surprised, the young raven-haired girl stammered, turning around hesitantly to face Sasuke once more. "What did I say about calling me Uchiha-san? Just call me Sasuke, please." "I'm sorry, Uchiha. I mean Sasuke, but the guards discovered 2 intruders attempting to sneak into the camp 15 minutes ago. So, why bother informing me?" "I was told to inform you because the 2 intruders bear the same symbol on that metal plate you wear around your forehead, and the guards felt that a high-ranking member of Naruto Comrade Sama's from his home village might be required to figure out what to do with these prisoners." You say all the intruders wore Hite 8 like mine?" "Hello, Sasuke. Well, chances are they're from my village, but I'm not the highest-ranking member of my comrades. We should go inform my former sensei Kakashi and let him decide what to do," Sasuke said as he finished putting on his shirt before exiting the tent and making their way over to Kakashi's. When they arrived at the silver-haired Junin's tent, Sasuke opened the flap and strolled in, closely followed by Momo, and he announced, "Kakashi-sensei, I believe we have a situation that requires your attention." Sasuke abruptly stopped speaking and froze at the sight in front of him. There was a naked Kakashi and an equally naked Kurenai lying on a bedroll, their arms and legs entwined around each other as they slept, holding each other close. As he thought to himself, a squeak from Momo, who immediately blushed and slapped her hands over her eyes, snapped Sasuke out of his shock at seeing these 2 people together in such an intimate position. "I never saw the Ice Queen and the perverted Cyclops coming." Sasuke turned around and quickly ushered Momo out of the tent before saying, "Well, Momo, it appears that Kakashi is currently unavailable, so I guess we should go inform Naruto of the situation with the intruders." The young girl nodded in agreement with Sasuke's decision, and the 2 of them began walking over to Naruto's tent. When they arrived, they were stopped by 2 guards who stated, "Naruto-sama has given orders that he not be disturbed." "I don't care what the Dobi ordered. He'll want to know about this as soon as possible," groused Sasuke at the guard. "I'm sorry, Uchiha-san, but I have my orders. You know, if I wanted to enter the tent, do you 2 honestly believe you could stop me?" A grim look spread across the guards' faces, as they knew they wouldn't be able to stop him. Sasuke noticed this expression and stated confidently, "I will accept full responsibility for upsetting Naruto-sama if it alleviates your anxiety." Both guards exchanged nods before allowing Sasuke to open the tent flap and walk in, followed closely behind by Momo as he announced, "Hey, Dobi, I think we have a problem." For the second time in the last 10 minutes, Sasuke stopped speaking in the middle of a sentence and froze at the sight in front of him. Naruto was sleeping naked, his arms protectively wrapped around an equally naked Hinata and Ino, who slept with their heads resting on Naruto's chest and their legs intertwined around his. A squeak of surprise from Momo, who furiously blushed and slapped her hands over her eyes, jolted Sasuke out of his stupor at seeing this sight. How the hell did he do it? The Dobi with both of them? At the same time? With a little confusion, admiration, and a twinge of jealousy, Sasuke thought to himself before looking over to Momo and thinking, Damn, Momo's blush is pretty cute. I'm starting to understand why Naruto thinks Hinata's blush is so sexy. Sasuke, on the other hand, decided to think about himself and Momo later before leading the obviously embarrassed raven-haired girl out of the tent and saying, "Well, it appears that Naruto-sama is also unavailable. Take me to where the prisoners are held, Momo, and I will decide what to do with them until Naruto and Kakashi are available." When Sasuke and Momo arrived at the location of the intruders, the first thing he saw was Kiba lying face down with his hands tied behind his back and several guards with their swords aimed at him. The Uchiha then turned his attention to Inuzuka's companion, his gaze falling on the pink hair of the man he had known his entire life. Sasuke's onyx-colored eyes narrowed when they met the gaze of Sakura's emerald-colored eyes. He unintentionally released a wave of killing intent by no longer seeing the girl he once loved and planned to marry. All he could see now was the girl who had played him for a fool for over 5 years, and if there was one thing everyone should know, it was that this Uchiha did not like being made a fool by anyone. The pink-haired Kunoichi flinched as he greeted her with malice in his voice. "Hello, Sakura." The pink-haired Kunoichi flinched when she heard her ex-fiancé greet her in a cold tone, and she wondered why he was speaking to her in that tone. She spoke up, hesitantly, and inquired, "What are you doing out here, Sasuke-kun?" "I'm out here to find Naruto per Hokage orders, Tsunade's, but the more important question is why you're here." "I'm here on Lady Tsunade's orders, too, to look for Naruto-kun." "That is a lie, Sakura." "I thought I taught you better than to lie to a comrade," Kakashi said as he and Kurenai arrived on the scene. Sakura exclaimed in surprise, "Kakashi-sensei." "Kakashi-sensei, Kurenai-sensei, it's good of you two to get dressed before joining us," Sasuke joked. Kurenai blushed immediately, and Kakashi stammered, "Did you see us?" "Yes, I went to get you when I found out we had unexpected visitors from our home, but that's beside the point. Please tell us how you know Sakura is lying." "Lady Tsunade informed us that Sakura had gone AWOL from the Leaf Village, as had Hinata, Ino, and Kiba in search of Naruto, and that my mission, along with Kurenai's, was to bring all of you back to the village." "So, why did you lie to me again, Sakura?" Sasuke inquired of his former teammate. "I didn't want to hurt you any further after our breakup by telling you I left the village to find Naruto-kun." "Don't you dare address him like that, you bitch!" screamed Ino as she and Naruto approached the unexpected reunion of Genin Team Number 7. "Pig." Sakura sneered before her gaze fell on Naruto and she was about to greet him, but the glare he was directing at her silenced her. "Hinata!" Kiba exclaimed, struggling to sit up after seeing his ex-wife. Hinata, for her part, simply looped her arm through Naruto's and scowled at Kiba before greeting the Inuzuka heir in an icy tone. "Kiba." Kiba was enraged when he saw Hinata entwine her arm with Naruto's. Yugito arrived and saw Naruto and Hinata, as well as this new blonde girl from his village. Her Jinchuriki-enhanced sense of smell immediately informed her of what had occurred between the three of them, and she lowered her head in sorrow. "See what you get for your indecision. You're sad because you fell for this delicious blonde hunk of man meat and now not one, but 2 females have claimed him for themselves," Nibi purred inside Yugito's mind. "Would you shut up? I haven't fallen for him, I haven't." Yugito snapped silently at her tenant. "You can deny it all you want, but you know you have, or maybe you're just sad that the princess and now this blonde-haired vixen from his homeland have gotten a taste of that meat you've secretly been wanting for the past few weeks but have been too afraid to go after. You're pitiful, and you've ruined your chances with him. Shut up." Yugito yelled, trying to silence her biju, startling everyone in the room as tears threatened to spill from her eyes. Are you okay, Yugito-chan? Hello, I'm fine. My tenant just decided to have a few words with me, that's all. Yugito stammered as she wiped her eyes and cast a quick glance at Hinata and Ino. Hinata noticed Yugito's concern for her, as the young woman must have realized what had happened between Naruto, Ino, and herself only a few hours before, and if the Kumo woman hadn't realized it yet, Sasuke's sarcastic greeting to Naruto took care of any lingering doubt. Dobi, it's nice of you three to get dressed before you joined us, Sasuke said, amused. Teme. How do you know? I came by your tent earlier to let you know we had visitors from the Leaf Village. Don't blame your security guards. I didn't give them much of a choice but to let me in, so I accept full responsibility. Damn it, Teme, I'll have a private talk with you later. Naruto said, his voice hard and stern. I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you'll have an interesting story to tell about what I saw. Hinata and Ino were both blushing furiously as Sasuke spoke before Naruto. As I previously stated, we'll talk later. What should I do with these two uninvited guests and unwelcome house guests? Sakura said softly, saddened by his tone of voice, Naruto-kun. I told you not to call him Billow Boardbrow. You lost that right a long time ago, and you're well aware of it. Ino spit angrily. Naruto Baka, cut me loose and get away from my wife. Kiba yelled angrily. Silence, mongrel. You will address Naruto-sama with respect with that tongue of yours, or you will lose that tongue. Daisuke threatened before jabbing Kiba in the ribs with the axe handle. That's it, Daisuke. Naruto issued an authoritative command. Please forgive me, Naruto-sama, Daisuke said, bowing. You and the other guards leave, and please inform Kenpachi that I do not want anyone to bother us. This is a personal matter involving my former comrades from my homeland. As you direct, sir. Momo, you accompany them as well, Sasuke instructed his first lieutenant. As you wish, Sasuke, Momo replied softly. Sakura and Kiba were still bound and kneeling in front of Hinata and Naruto, who asked in a harsh and commanding tone. Why are you two here, Sakura and Kiba? Like I said earlier, I came looking for you, Naruto-ke. Naruto, Sakura replied timidly. I'm here for my wife, so get your filthy arm off of her before I rip it off. Kiba threatened as he struggled to break the ropes tying his hands behind his back. You better tone it down with me, Kiba. We all know your bark is worse than your bite. Naruto remarked sarcastically. I'll show you how bad my bite can be, bastard. Kiba said as he rose from the ground and took a step forward, only to stop when he noticed everyone else taking a step forward towards him. As your superior and former sensei, I command you to stand down. Kurenai said to her former student. Why are you all protecting this demon? He stole my wife, and I want Hinata back. Kiba demanded angrily of his fellow Leaf Village shinobi. Sakura yelled at Kiba, Hinata is not your wife. What do you mean I'm not his wife? Hinata asked, perplexed. Shut up, Sakura. Yelled Kiba, threateningly. As I said, Hinata, you're no longer Kiba's wife, at least not anymore. I said shut the fuck up, Sakura, or I'll kill you. Kiba yelled, taking a menacing step towards the pink-haired Kunoichi beside him, before coming to a halt when he felt Sasuke's Zanpakuto blade on his throat. Go ahead, Sakura, the mutt isn't going to kill anyone right now, Sasuke said with a smirk on his face. I learned from Kiba's sister Hana that you're no longer married to him, Hinata. His mother and father have legally dissolved your marriage. You fucking bitch. Kiba yelled, before Sasuke applied more pressure to the blade on Inuzuka's throat. "You're a single woman again as of right now," Sakura declared, ignoring Kiba. Hinata needed a moment to process what she had just learned, but when she did, her face lit up with a bright smile as she turned her head to look lovingly at Naruto. "Grr. I don't give a damn what Okasan and Hiyashi have done. The two of them can go to hell. I didn't agree to a divorce and neither did Hinata." Kiba growled in protest. Hinata returned her gaze to Kiba and slapped him, speaking in a hate-filled tone that no one had ever expected from her. "You stupid, pathetic piece of garbage. You honestly believe I wouldn't agree to divorce you when you and my father blackmailed me by using my sister? What do you mean, Hinata?" Kurenai inquired. "Shut up, you bitch, you swore not to say anything, and if you do, I'll make you regret it." Kiba yelled at Hinata. Naruto was in front of the Inuzuka heir in an instant, delivering a powerful punch to his face that sent his former friend tumbling backwards for several feet. As the blonde Jinchuriki said with malice, Kiba felt Naruto's boot pressing down on his throat before he could even get up. "I will kill you if you ever speak to or threaten Hinata-chan like that again. You're getting a one-time pass right now because we were once friends, but that's the only pass you're getting, so I suggest you keep that filthy mouth shut and let Hinata-chan inform the others about the truth behind her marriage to you." Naruto pressed his foot against the ground to emphasize what he had just said to Kiba. "What does Naruto mean by your marriage to Kiba being true?" "I had to marry Kiba 3 years ago to save my sister from him," Kurenai-sensei, Hinata spat, her former husband despised. "Hinata, I'm your best friend, and even I don't understand what you're talking about," Ino exclaimed, perplexed. "When my father and Kiba first approached me with the arranged marriage, I vehemently refused them. My father even threatened to have me branded with the caged bird seal unless I agreed, and I still told them no. I told him and that worthless pile of shit currently under Naruto boot-kuns that I would marry him and only him, which enraged both my father and Kiba greatly. My father because Kiba had." Many of the Leaf Village shinobi present let out an audible gasp of surprise as they turned to look at Kiba with disgust before Hinata continued on. "If you remember, Hanabi and Konohamaru fell in love and promised to marry when they reached legal age. I couldn't let my father and Kiba destroy their happiness, so I relented and agreed to the arranged marriage, even though I knew that in saving Hanabi's happiness, I would be destroying my own, and I've lived in my own private hell for the past 3 years as a result." Hinata explains. Hinata was caught by Ino before she fell, and she gently lowered her friend to the ground as she exclaimed in distress. "What's wrong, Hinata-chan? Are you okay? Naruto, let me go. Let me help Hinata." Sakura yelled. Naruto had Sakura freed a moment later, and they both dashed over to where Hinata lay. Sakura began scanning Hinata's vitals as her hands glowed with green chakra. After a few minutes, she deactivated her chakra and helped the Hyuga girl to her feet, while everyone waited for her diagnosis. "You're fine, Hinata. Your blood pressure was probably elevated, which is what caused you to feel dizzy, but it's now returning to normal, and I suppose I'm the first to congratulate you." Congratulate me? What do you mean, Sakura?" Hinata inquired, perplexed. "You're pregnant," Sakura announced softly, as she knew who the father must be. Hinata's eyes widened in surprise, and her hands instinctively rose to her stomach. Everyone was stunned by the news, but the silence was broken when Kiba, who was still bound, rose to his knees and joyfully exclaimed. "Damn, Hinata, we've been trying for 3 years to produce an heir. What makes you think it's yours?" Hinata sneered at her ex-husband. What do you mean?" Kiba asked, perplexed. "It's a shame your intelligence didn't grow with you. You're still the ignorant and simple-minded little boy you were at 13 years old as you are now. I haven't been trying to have a child for the last 3 years, and if I was, it wouldn't have been with a fool like you. So I took the necessary precautions to ensure that didn't happen. What are you on about? You idiot, I was forced to marry you, but I'll be damned if I bore you a child. I've used a contraceptive jutsu throughout our marriage because there is only one man I want to give a child to, and it's not you. But we've been trying to conceive since our honeymoon. Kiba exclaimed, clearly perplexed. Do not even mention that night as our honeymoon. Call it what it was, you contemptible son of a bitch. You raped me for the first time. Hinata screamed in agony, tears streaming down her cheeks. Everyone present let out a collective gasp as Naruto hugged Hinata in an attempt to comfort her, while she cried into his chest. The anger and rage from everyone present began to rise, as they glared at Kiba, who was shivering under the oppressive pressure of the killing intent being directed towards him by everyone present. Finally, Kurenai had had enough and walked over and punched Kiba in the nose, breaking it, as she screamed. You filthy fucking bastard, I'm embarrassed to have ever called you one of my students. You are a disgrace, both as a shinobi and as a man. You fucking babe. I'd kill you if my hands weren't still tied for striking me like that. I didn't rape anyone. It was our honeymoon, and all Hinata wanted to do was cry. I took what was rightfully mine as her husband because she wouldn't put out like she was supposed to. And I've done so numerous times since then, when she continued to refuse me throughout our marriage. Kiba spat angrily, rising to his knees once more. Why didn't you tell me, Hinata? Naruto said in a pained voice. I couldn't tell you because Kiba and my father still feared Hanabi and Konohamaru. How come you didn't tell me about this sooner? I was scared to tell you, Naru-kun. Was it me you were afraid of? No, I wasn't afraid of you. I was afraid of losing you if you found out what had happened to me. I was afraid you wouldn't want me anymore if you found out how used and dirty I am as a result of what Kiba has done to me. Naruto hugged Hinata even tighter as she wept softly into his chest, while stroking her back and saying in a sad yet comforting tone. I'm so sorry, Hinata-chan, that you had to endure such heinous acts for the past 3 years. I swear to Kami that if I had known, I would have rescued you, and the Hyuga and Inuzuka clans would have been damned if they tried to stop me. I'm sorry I couldn't be there for you, my Haim. Hinata couldn't believe what she was hearing. This man, this wonderful man she was forced to betray, was actually blaming himself for her fate, and there wasn't a hint of disgust for her in his voice or the way he held her. Hinata hesitantly asked, lifting her head and looking up at him with tear-filled eyes. You're not disgusted with me? Naruto looked down at the Hyuga girl he loved and held in his arms, a puzzled expression on his face, before pulling away from their embrace. How can I be disgusted with you? You did nothing wrong, and what happened to you should never have happened to anyone else. That is a foolish way to think. It's not foolish, Naruto-kun, but a deep-seated fear that all women share about their one loved ones after they've suffered what Hinata and I had to suffer, Yugito explained as she walked over and embraced Hinata in a sisterly hug, whispering comfort and understanding to the Hyuga girl. It appears we're more alike than I thought, Hinata, because I, too, know the pain, despair, and loneliness you've had to bear over the last few years as a result of what that bastard did to you. Naruto had been fighting his rage, but the realization of what had happened to both Hinata and Yugito hit him like a ton of bricks, and he growled threateningly. I promised you, Yugito, that once I have Madara, I will make him and the rest of the Akatsuki pay for what they did to you. However, what Kiba did to you, Hinata-chan, only makes me want to kill him even more, and there's nothing stopping me from burying that son of a bitch right now. Naruto was standing over Kiba with his right hand ablaze in red chakra, and Kiba was frozen in absolute terror as the killing intent directed upon him by his former friend was overwhelming. However, before Naruto could grip the Inuzuka's throat and reduce the Leaf Village Junin to ashes, a hand shot out and grasped his wrist, holding it in place. Hitaki, if you don't want to share the same fate as this piece of shit. After what I've just heard, all I want is for you to exact revenge on Kiba for what he's done, but I can't let you kill him. Lady Tsunade's orders to Kurenai and me were for everyone to return alive and well. I don't care about Ba orders, Chan's, so you'd better let go now. Please, Naru-kun, stop. Don't kill him. Hinata yelled. Why would you beg me to stop after what he's done to you, Hinata-chan? I would prefer Kiba's death if it only affected me, but it doesn't. Sume-san and Hana would be devastated if he died, and I care far too much about them for that to happen. Even if it means putting aside any vengeful feelings I have for their son and brother. You're too kind, my Haim. Do you really want to associate the day you found out you're going to be a father with the murder of a man you once called a friend and comrade? Kakashi inquired. Kakashi's words had the desired effect on his enraged former student, and the crackling red chakra around Naruto's hands subsided before completely disappearing as the news that he was going to be a father finally hit him. I'm going to be a dad, Naruto stuttered to himself, before turning back to Kiba, who was still quivering in fear. You're a lucky man, Kiba, because I really wanted to kill you. I'm Ba, please, Sasuke. Throw this piece of garbage into the prison pit until I figure out what to do with him. No problem, Naruto, and congrats. Come on, dog boy. It's time to put you in your cage for the day, Sasuke said sarcastically, lifting Kiba up by the scruff of his collar. Get your damn hands off of me, Uchiha scum. Kiba yelled, only to be met with a kick to the backside from Sasuke as he led the Inuzuka heir away. Naruto turned to see Hinata being glommed by Ino, Kurenai, and Yugito, while Sakura stood to the side. With a sigh, he turned to Kakashi and said, Kakashi, I don't think Sakura will cause any problems like Kiba did, so I'm not going to imprison her. Do me a favor and fill her in on what's going on and what we've agreed to, and see if she'll help us against Madara and the Akatsuki. I will, Naruto, but I believe Sakura really wants to speak with you. I know, but I have other females I need to talk to first. I'll talk to Sakura later, but I'm not ready right now. I understand, and I have to say I'm impressed you're being so civil about her given your rather tumultuous relationship. She's a superb medical nin and a powerful kunoichi in her own right. Sakura would undoubtedly be of assistance to us in our upcoming fight if she is willing, so I'm not so foolish as to refuse her assistance despite my personal feelings for her. Naruto and Kakashi then approached the group of excited females, with Kakashi motioning for Sakura to join him. Naruto wrapped his loving arm around Hinata and bravely endured the barrage of questions and comments, mostly from Kurenai, about Hinata's pregnancy and his plans for the future. The Naruto clone moved stealthily through the Spring Country's ruler Princess Koyuki's castle, eager to learn everything he could about the enemy his master would soon face. He had already learned that the Akatsuki's followers numbered in the 125 to 150 range, with the majority of them being of low-level Chunin strength. Now he needed to learn everything he could about the main power players. After spotting an air duct, the clone quickly crawled into it and towards the throne room. When he arrived at the throne room, he peered through the air duct grate and overheard a conversation. So, you can only resurrect 2 of my former Akatsuki minions, Orochimaru? No, Madara, what I said was that I could only completely control 2 of your Akatsuki brethren using the Edo Tensei technique. I could revive more, but my control would not be absolute, and if they chose to fight against the technique, they might break free and turn against That eliminates Pain, Conan, and Itachi, who would undoubtedly fight the technique and betray me as they have in the past. I'm afraid your options are even more limited, Madara-sama, as the lack of a physical body to resurrect Kisame, Sasori, and Suigetsu is also eliminated. Kabuto apologized to the elder Uchiha. No loss there, as far as I'm concerned. All three of them were a pain in the $. Deidara snorted mockingly. It takes one to know one, Zetsu said, mocking his fellow Akatsuki member. Shut up half and half, or I'll introduce you to my art. Intimately. Deidara retorted angrily. Silence. I'm not in the mood for either of you and your petty insults, Madara exclaimed angrily. Both Deidara and Zetsu immediately fell silent, as neither wanted to face their leader's wrath. After a minute of silence, the Uchiha leader spoke again, this time confidently. I know the perfect two to resurrect. Their power and skills rival mine, and their loyalty to me is unquestionable. Who do you want me to resurrect? Orochimaru inquired. You will bring Obito Uchiha and Kakuzu back to life. I'm going to need their bodies to do the Edo Tensei. They'll be ready for you tomorrow. A knock on the door cut off any further discussion, and Madara motioned to Zetsu. Zetsu immediately morphed and henged into the form of Dodo, the former leader of the Land of Spring, knowing what his leader desired. A few moments later, one of the Akatsuki followers led Princess Koyuki to stand before Madara and the alleged Dodo. The young ruler gave both men a heated stare before announcing with a sneer. You can stop using this phony Dodo, Madara. He may have fooled me at first, but I now know he's nothing but a sham. It doesn't matter now. He served his purpose by reasserting fear in your people. Zetsu, return to your natural form. Zetsu immediately reverted to his black and white body and dropped his henge while stating, with a nod to his leader. I'm relieved I won't have to revert to that form. It was too confining. What am I doing here? Koyuki inquired. You've come because I'm sick of waiting for your ostensible champion Naruto to arrive and save you, as you foolishly believe he will. Naruto will come and rescue me and my people, and when he arrives, he'll kick your ass again, just like he did in the Fourth Great Shinobi War, Koyuki said, her defiance towards Madara and trust in Naruto echoing in her voice. Bah! Your hero worship of the Kyuubi Jinchuriki is nauseating, and your faith in him is misplaced. He's had several weeks to ride in on his white horse to rescue you and your country, and yet where is he? He'll come, I'm sure of it. Well, perhaps I can speed him up by simply killing you and letting the news of your death reach his ears, and then he will rush to avenge you. Madara spit angrily as he signaled the Akatsuki follower behind the Koyuki. The man immediately pulled out a dagger and was about to stab the princess when an explosion occurred. Koyuki had closed her eyes and waited calmly for the final strike that would end her life after hearing the Akatsuki henchman unsheath his dagger. After that, she heard an explosion and felt something warm hit her face. The rightful ruler of the Spring Country, tentatively opening her eyes, was met with a shocking sight. Naruto was standing beside her with a Rasengan in his hand. She then noticed the headless body of the Akatsuki follower who was about to kill her. As she reached up to wipe some of his blood off her face, Koyuki realized the explosion was caused by Naruto thrusting his Rasengan into her would-be killer's head, obliterating it. She heard him say as she looked up at Naruto's grin. I apologize for the blood, princess. The Rasengan can be a little messy at times. Namikaze, so you've finally arrived. Madara exclaimed as he rose from his throne. Well, Sort of yes and sort of no Uchiha Teme, the clone said, twirling a kunai in his hand, while Madara signaled Deidara, Zetsu, Orochimaru, and Kabuto into attack positions before asking. What are you on about? My master would be furious if you killed the princess here. Show some patience, Madara. My master knows you're here, so there's no need to kill the princess or anyone else in order to bring him to you. He's eager to see you again and will be here shortly. What exactly do you mean by your master? A shadow clone. Orochimaru responded. You may be a slithering, backstabbing traitor, but my master never thought you were stupid. Why thank you, clone, am I to assume that the real Naruto is nearby because you're here? Ha, oh no, my master can create a clone that will last for days and he doesn't even have to be close to them to keep it going. No, Master Naruto is still a few days away, but he is on his way, and I can assure you that this time, none of you will be returning once he is finished. A hollow threat from the Kyuubi brat. Madara sneered dismissively. The snake Sanin hissed, Madara, it would be in our best interest to capture this clone. When he saw Deidara, Zetsu, Orochimaru, and Kabuto approaching him, the clone turned to Koyuki and said to her in a soothing voice. I wish I could save you right now, princess, but don't be concerned. Master Naruto will arrive soon, and you and your people will be free once more. The Naruto clone then whirled around and tossed 5 kunai with exploding tags towards his enemies. As Madara and the rest of his minions jumped away from each exploding kunai, the clone took his remaining kunai and stabbed himself in the chest, exploding instantly in a cloud of smoke. When the smoke dissipated from the explosions, Orochimaru. It had been a few hours since Kiba and Sakura were captured and their subsequent reunion with their former friends and comrades at the Crimson Bandit encampment, giving Yugito time to reflect on her current situation with Naruto and herself. The Nibi vessel had already decided that at the very least she was going to help him in his upcoming battle against Madara and the Akatsuki, if for no other reason than the chance to gain some justified revenge. Do I even have a future with him now? Yugito wondered sadly as she remembered seeing Naruto with Hinata and Ino earlier. The former Cloud Kunoichi's thoughts were interrupted when she heard Hinata's voice outside her tent seeking entrance. Granting permission, Yugito saw the Hyuga girl enter and realized she had been getting closer to Hinata on a daily basis since they met, almost to the point where the young blonde woman almost considered her a friend now. I apologize for not getting back to you sooner, but congratulations on the news of your child with Naruto-ku. I'm referring to Naruto. I'm sure the two of you are overjoyed about it. Thank you Yugito. I think Naru-kun was more surprised than happy at first, but we talked and he is excited about becoming a father. For me, having a child with him has always been a dream, so I'm overjoyed that it has come true. I'm sure the two of you will be happy together in the future, and I wish you both the best, Yugito stammered in a choked voice, struggling not to cry upon realizing the answer to her previous question. I no longer have a future with Naruto-kun. Thank you, Yugito-chan, but I didn't come here to discuss Naru-kun and my future. What did you want to discuss with me? I wanted to discuss Naru future kuns with you. Do you think I'm going to cause you and Naruto-kun? Damn it, I mean Naruto problems? Because if you do, you're mistaken. I know Naruto has loved you for a long time and that you love him as well. I care about both of you, so you don't have to worry about me causing any problems in the future. As soon as Madara is defeated, I will quietly leave your lives so the two of you and that blonde friend of yours can have a blissful life together, Yugito replied, her heart breaking as she spoke and a single tear rolled down her face. No, you've misunderstood me. I never imagined you'd be a source of contention. And I certainly don't want you to just vanish from my life, let alone Naru-kun's, Hinata exclaimed, her voice worried. I don't get Hinata. Why would you want me around? Yugito inquired, clearly perplexed. I want to be there because I don't want to lose a friend, and I also don't want Naru-kun to lose someone I know he loves. He would be saddened if that were to happen. So you want me to be a part of your and Naruto's lives? Hi. I know you care deeply about Naru-kun, maybe even love him. So I don't want him to lose one of his prized possessions. And if you want to pursue something more with him, I won't stop you. I'm still perplexed by everything. What are you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that I care about you as well, and if you come to love Naru-kun as much as I do, I wouldn't mind just sharing him with you. Do you really mean it, Hinata? Yugito was taken aback when she heard the Hyuga girl's suggestion. Yes, I want us to stay friends, and I don't want you to be sad. You're my friend, and I couldn't bear seeing you in pain while I'm with Naru-kun. Yugito sat in stunned silence, trying to process and consider what Hinata was offering before looking over and asking. How about your blonde friend? What does she think about it all? Ino and I talked about it, and there's only one thing we care about, Naru happiness. Kun's as long as you truly love him and he loves you, she, like me, has no reservations about sharing Naru-kun with you. Are you saying you want a relationship with me similar to your relationship with Ino? Because I'm not prepared for something like that, and I'm not sure I ever will be. You're aware of Ino and me. I believe you overheard Sasuke this morning. I figured it out before the emo duck butt said anything. One of the benefits of being a Jinchuriki is having a keen sense of smell. I see. Well, to answer your question. No, I'm not suggesting you have a relationship with me, Ino, or both of us in the same way that Ino and I have taken our relationship. If you don't mind me asking, what is the nature of your relationship? It's complicated, and both Ino and I are still trying to figure it out. If you're wondering if we're lesbians, don't worry. I'm not attracted to other women, and she isn't either. As we grew older, our relationship began as a friendship. As we grew older, our friendship grew stronger and our bond grew deeper. And as that bond grew stronger, we both realized we had a deep affection for one another in Naru-kun. And neither of us could bear seeing the other in pain because we were with him. So we just took our feelings for each other to a whole new level because we both loved Naru-kun. I know Ino adores both Naruto and me, and she knows how much I adore her and Naru-kun. I'm not sure if that answers your question or makes sense to you, Yugito-chan, but it's the best I can do. It answers my question, and it makes sense given your relationships with both Naruto-kun and Ino. I also appreciate you're not implying that I enter into that type of relationship with you and Ino. I'm not opposed to it, and I don't see anything wrong with it, but, as I previously stated, I don't think I'm ready for something like that, and I'm not sure if I ever will be. I comprehend. Thank you for making such an offer, Hinata, but it doesn't matter because Naruto-kun may not want a relationship with me now that he has the two of you, so him and I being together in such a way may be nothing more than a foolish fantasy on my part. Do you adore Naru-kun? Hinata inquired. I don't know, I'm not sure I even know what love is anymore after the hell I went through at the hands of the Akatsuki, but I do know I care a lot about Naruto-kun and feel some empathy for him because he's a Jinchuriki like me, but I'm not sure if that's love. Well, I believe Naru-kun cares deeply about you, Yugito-chan, which is why Ino and I don't mind sharing him with you. If the two of you discover that you truly love each other, we want you both to be happy. Many thanks, Hinata. However, you and Naru-kun do need to talk about your feelings for each other, and I also need to talk to him to let him know that if he wants to pursue a relationship with you, Ino and I are fine with that, so let me talk to him first, but I'll need some time, okay? Yugito nodded in agreement as both women rose to their feet and hugged each other in friendship and understanding before Hinata exited the tent. Naruto sighed as he entered the tent he shared with Hinata and, he assumed, Ino after the previous night. The blonde Jinchuriki took off his now torn shirt and grumbled angrily as he looked at it. It was one of his favorite shirts, and Sasuke had ruined it. However, Naruto realized it was his own fault that his shirt had become a tattered mess. He chose, along with Kakashi, to assist the Teme in finally unlocking his Bankai, which Naruto had to admit was quite impressive to see. Sasuke's Bankai transforms Zabumaru into a massive version of its Shikai form that resembles a snake skeleton. Naruto noticed that Zabumaru's segments grew in number and size, resembling a cross between a snake's vertebral column and the pick-like protrusions of his Shikai segments. It also grew a serpent-like head the size of a large carriage. Naruto also noticed that Sasuke's appearance changed with the release of his Bankai, as he gained a fur cowl around his neck. The cowl appears to be ape fur, with an ape's skull visible over Sasuke's left shoulder, and the rest of the fur extending to cover his right arm. Naruto was relieved that the Teme had finally unlocked his Bankai, and he was now learning about its power and the different types of attacks he could use with Kakashi's assistance. Sasuke was proving to be a valuable asset in their upcoming battle against Madara and the remaining Akatsuki. Naruto smirked to himself as he remembered Sasuke being blown away by the power of his Bankai's initial release. What made him laugh was seeing a panicked and distressed Momo rush over to help him and Sasuke blush at the attention she was lavishing on him. The Teme actually seemed genuinely embarrassed and apologetic to the young girl for making her worry about him, Naruto thought amusingly. Naruto was interrupted in his thoughts when he felt a pair of smooth slender arms encircle his torso from behind and embrace him tightly, followed by a soft kiss on his back. He turned around and wrapped his arms around Hinata's waist, lifting her up to kiss her passionately on the lips. After a minute, Naruto and Hinata drew apart, panting for breath as he lowered her back to the ground. Naruto smiled brightly at Hinata and stated lovingly, leaning forward until their foreheads were touching. "If you keep greeting me like that, Hinaheim, I might never leave this tent again." Hinata laughed sweetly before placing a chaste kiss on Naruto's lips, pulling away, and asking, "What brought you here? I thought you were assisting Sasuke with his Bankai?" "I was and I did. The Teme is currently working with Kakashi-sensei. I just came back to change clothes before going back to help them." "Oh, I was hoping you'd have some time to talk with me." "We have some time, my Heim. I don't have to go back right away. What are your thoughts?" Hinata nodded and sat on the floor, and Naruto followed suit, sitting beside her. Hinata said to Naruto, clearing her throat and exhaling a small sigh nervously. "I wanted to discuss you and Yugito-chan." Naruto stiffened slightly and rubbed the back of his head involuntarily, as he always did when he was unsure or nervous about something, before stammering in response. "How about Yugito-chan and myself?" "Don't be nervous, Naru-kun. I'm not upset or anything with you," Hinata assured him lovingly. "Okay, what do you want to know?" "Naru-kun, I know you have feelings for Yugito-chan, and I also know she has feelings for you. I just wanted to let you know that if you want to pursue a relationship with her, you have my and Ino's blessing to do so. We will not be opposed to it, and we will not cause you or her any trouble or problems as a result." I don't understand, Hinaheim?" Naruto asked, a puzzled expression on his face. "Ino and I simply want you to be happy, and if being in a relationship with Yugito-chan makes you happy, we don't want you to abandon it because of us." "Are you and Ino dumping me?" Naruto stammered, his voice hurt. No, we love you, that's not what we're saying or doing." A panicked Hinata exclaimed. "I'm still confused about everything. Alright, before we go any further in this conversation, I need to ask you about yourself and Ino. I would have asked this last night, but our activities sort of prevented any rational thought from me at the time. I see. What do you want to know? Well. How long have you and Ino been? You know. Lesbians? Naruto inquired sheepishly. We are not lesbians, exclaimed Hinata angrily. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Naruto cried out, waving his arms in front of him. Hinata simply closed her eyes and exhaled a deep breath before opening them again and saying calmly, No, I'm sorry Naru-kun, I shouldn't have snapped at you like that. The truth is that my relationship with Ino is complicated, but I'll do my best to explain how it came to be. As I previously stated, neither Ino nor myself are lesbians. Not that there is anything wrong with that. It's just that I'm not attracted to other females, and she isn't either. I also want you to know that I love you. You were my first love and the most powerful love I have, and it's been that way my entire life. I love you, Hinaheim. I'm just wondering how you and Ino met. I don't blame you. We're perplexed as well, given how quickly it happened. It wasn't something either Ino or I had planned on happening, it just sort of did. So last night was the first time you two. Hello. That was the first time Ino and I were intimate with each other in that way. You say neither of you planned it and it happened quickly, but that still leaves the question of why it happened. Hinata sighed heavily as she pondered how to explain everything to Naruto about her and Ino when she couldn't even explain it to herself. Hinata began to speak as she took Naruto's hand in her own. Initially, Naru-kun, my relationship with Ino began as a friendship as we grew older. As we grew older, that friendship grew stronger and the bond between us grew deeper, especially after Sakura ended her friendship with Ino because of Sasuke. And as that bond continued to grow, eventually a deep sisterly love began to develop between us. We didn't realize that our sisterly love might continue to grow into something more one day. Naruto winced slightly when Shikamaru's name was mentioned in conjunction with Ino, as it brought back some painful memories. Hinata noticed this and cupped his cheek gently with her other hand, saying with loving comfort. I said Ino thought she loved Shikamaru, and she does, but not in the way she loves you Naru-kun. Ino loves Shikamaru as a friend, nothing more, and she just got confused about the love she felt for him. Naruto kissed Hinata's palm and nodded to the Hyuga girl who continued on her way. When I was forced to marry Kiba, it was Ino who was there to help and comfort me during my marriage, and our love and bond grew even stronger, to the point where when Ino asked if she could pursue a relationship with you, I gave her my blessing, even though it was killing me on the inside. How come you did it? I did it because I loved both of you Naru-kun, and if you and Ino could make each other happy, I didn't want to deny either of you that happiness because of me. I did it because I loved both of you Naru-kun, and if you and Ino could make each other happy, I didn't want to deny either of you that happiness because of me. You bear far too much blame. What happened between Ino and me was entirely your fault. Well, when it happened, it did put a strain on Ino and my relationship for a time, but you know the old saying misery loves company. Even though I knew Ino had hurt you, who was I to judge her considering the pain I had caused you by my own betrayal? Eventually, we found ourselves trying to help one another through the pain and heartache we had inflicted upon ourselves of our own doing. What do you mean by the love you two had for me? Naru-kun, you know I never stopped loving you during my marriage, and I can tell you that Ino never stopped loving you during her relationship with Shikamaru. Okay, but how did the two of you still loving me involve the two of you taking your relationship to the next level, as you say? Unbeknownst to me, Ino had recognized and begun to develop feelings for me beyond the sisterly love we had developed before I did, and it wasn't until we were both free of Kiba and Shikamaru, and through some inadvertent encouragement on my part, that she acted on it. What exactly do you mean? When Ino arrived here, we talked about my renewed relationship with you, and she revealed that she still loved you and that you were one of only 2 people in her entire life that she loved like that. I pressed Ino and asked if she couldn't find happiness with that other person? What exactly did she say? She said that the other person had recently found someone else and that she wouldn't dare think of revealing her feelings to this other person for fear of ruining their friendship if she did, but I wanted to see Ino happy and told her that even if this other person was in a relationship, she should still tell them her feelings and let them decide, and well, she did. Do you mean? Hi. Ino admitted to me that the other person she loved and cared for as much as she loved and cared for you, Naru-kun, was me. That must have taken you by surprise. It did, but what happened next shocked me even more. What occurred? Ino-chan kissed me. How did you react when she did that? When it happened, I was too stunned to react, but after a moment, I pushed her away, telling Ino that I love you, Naru-kun, and that I would never cheat on you. I'd rather die than do that to you. I appreciate it, my Haim, but what happened after that? Ino sobbed and apologized, fearful that she had ruined our friendship and that I now despised her. I told her that I didn't despise her and that I was just surprised and confused, because I thought Ino loved you. Did Ino-chan say anything? She said she loves you, but that as she and I became closer as friends, she began to develop feelings for me while still being madly in love with you. Before Hinata continued, Naruto could only sit in silence, trying to understand and process everything he had heard. Naru-kun, I want to be completely honest with you. When Ino kissed me, it was like a switch went off inside of me, and I suddenly realized that the feelings Ino-chan felt for me, I also felt for her. We both came to know that you are the only man either of us would truly love, and that each of us was the only woman either of us could truly love as well. Hi, Hina-heim, I'm not sure why, but I think I understand. Is that when the 2 of you decided you wanted a relationship between all 3 of us? It wasn't really a decision between us, because I was the one who suggested that I would be willing to share you with Ino-chan. I know that sounds bad, but when we both realized that we held a deep love for one another and for you, Naru-kun, neither of us could bear to see the other in pain because we were with you and the other wasn't. I know Ino-chan genuinely loves both you and me, and she knows that I genuinely love her and you. You don't have to do that, Haim. Your solution to the problem was unusual, but I love you and Ino-chan and am willing to give the relationship a chance. Thank you, Naru-kun, for giving the 3 of us a chance, Hinata said gratefully as she wrapped a warm embrace around Naruto. Yeah. There are a lot worse things in life than having to go to bed with 2 sexy and smoking hot ladies every night and the activities that are soon to follow. Naruto chuckled. Hinata blushed furiously before asking, Naru-kun. She exclaimed in embarrassment. Does Naru-kun adore Yugito-chan? Naruto exhaled a sigh before speaking candidly. I don't know Hina-heim, but I know I care a lot about her, and I feel a kinship with Yugito-chan because of our Jinchuriki status and the life we've had to grow up in as a result, but I'm not sure if that's love yet. I understand, but could you please do me a favor, Naru-kun? What exactly is it? Determine your true feelings for Yugito-chan, and don't pass up the chance to find happiness not only for yourself, but also for her. But what if we end up in a relationship? Does that mean Yugito-chan has to join you and Ino-chan? Naruto asked, a small rivulet of blood dripping from his nose at the image of a naked Hinata, Ino, and Yugito laying on a large bed, all of them beckoning seductively to him to join them, that suddenly appeared in his mind courtesy of a snickering Kyuubi no. As Hinata sternly stated, A smack to the back of Naruto's head jolted him out of his stupor. Naru-kun. Sorry. Sorry. Naruto apologized repeatedly as he wiped his nose. Now that I have your attention again, to answer your question, no, that doesn't mean Yugito-chan has to join Ino and me. I've already told you about the special circumstances surrounding our relationship, and she understands and knows she doesn't have to engage in that type of relationship with us if she doesn't want to. You've communicated with Yugito-chan. Yes, and I'm going to tell you the same thing I told her. The two of you need to talk about your feelings for each other. I know Yugito-chan cares a lot for you, which is why Ino and I don't mind sharing Naru-kun with you, because if the two of you discover that you genuinely love each other, we want the both of you to be happy. I promise Hinaheim, I will speak to Yugito-chan, Naruto stated honestly before asking. However, where is Ino-chan? Well, since Ino has now become a part of our lives, I thought she should get to know Nel-chan better, so she's currently out playing with her and Yachiru. I hope she ate a full breakfast and lunch today, because those two bundles of energy will run her ragged if I know them. Ha, ha, ha. Arg. Naruto laughed, then clutched his head in pain. What's wrong, Naru-kun? Hinata inquired, concerned. My clone in the Spring Country has been destroyed. I just recovered all of its memories. Hinata, I need you to gather all of our friends from the Leaf Village, while I go gather all of the former Shinagamis, along with Yugito and Daisuke, and have everyone meet me in the main tent as soon as possible. Hello, I'll do that, but are you sure you're okay? I'll be fine. The sudden influx of information just stunned me for a moment. Please go find everyone. I need to share what I've learned with all of them. As Naruto watched Hinata rush out of their tent, he exhaled a heavy sigh and a grim expression spread across his face as he reflected on what he had just discovered, and all he could do in frustration was utter one word about the situation. Damn. A short time later, everyone from the Leaf Village except Kiba and all of the former captains and lieutenants of the Gote 13, as well as Yugito and Daisuke, had gathered in the main tent. Everyone was talking amongst themselves, wondering why Naruto had called this emergency meeting. All conversations, however, came to a halt when Naruto cleared his throat and announced. Ahem, I've summoned you all because the clone I sent to infiltrate the land of Spring and gather intelligence on our adversary dispersed himself, and I've learned of some valuable information that I need to share with all of you. What did your clone discover? Kakashi inquired. The good news is that the Akatsuki followers under Madara number in the 125 to 150 range, with the majority of them being of low-level Chunin strength, so we'll be roughly equal in numbers and strength with the men we've trained. Do you have any bad news? Unfortunately, there is Kakashi, as Madara has bolstered his ranks within the main Akatsuki with some new and extremely powerful members. Who did he invite, Naruto-sama? The men he's added won't mean anything to you Shunsui, but they'll mean a lot to my Leaf Village comrades, as they're old foes we've fought before in the past. Madara has seen fit to reintroduce Orochimaru and Kabuto into the Akatsuki. All of the Konoha shinobi present in the tent had a grim expression on their faces. The Shinigami took notice of this and realized that the two men Naruto mentioned must be formidable foes. Before anyone could ponder this news any further, Naruto's voice spoke up again and said. Unfortunately, that's not the only addition Madara is making to the Akatsuki. Using his Edo Tensei technique, Orochimaru plans on resurrecting two more very powerful warriors, Kakuzu and, I'm sorry to say, Kakashi, as well as Obito Uchiha. When Kakashi heard that, he stiffened slightly but kept his cool as Naruto continued. The remaining Akatsuki are Deidara, Zetsu, and, of course, Madara himself. So what if there are 7 extremely powerful men? We can match them person for person between you, me, Yoruichi, Shunsui, the demon cat chick, and a couple of your village buddies," Kenpachi boasted. "I wish that were the case, Zaraki, but some of these men are extremely powerful and dangerous, and defeating them will require more than a one-on-one battle. Not for me. You promised me a fight against a foe who could kill me, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. If any of you try to assist me in my battle, I will kill you," Kenpachi growled, threateningly. "Okay, if that's what you want, that's what you'll get," Naruto yelled angrily at the brutish former Gote 13 captain before declaring. "As you know, my original plan was to have specific Akatsuki members taken on and removed permanently. Has that changed now?" Yoruichi inquired. "To some extent, it has, as some of you will be working together to take down and eliminate an Akatsuki member. Also, I had planned to have Zaraki, Yoruichi, Shunsui, Kakashi, Sasuke, and Kurenai each lead a platoon of troops, but that has now changed." "What has changed, Naruto?" "It's changed because I assumed Madara would organize his Akatsuki followers into units or platoons, but according to my clone, he doesn't. His followers have gathered under a single leader, our field general for the Uchiha. Do you want to disband the platoons we've formed and mass our troops like Madara has?" "No, Shunsui, I think keeping the 6 combat platoons works to our advantage because it gives us 6 points of attack against a massed enemy. However, I believe that all of us will be too preoccupied with attempting to defeat our opponents to command our platoons. As a result, we require our own field general to command all 6 platoons throughout the battle. Have you got someone in mind, Naru-kun?" "Daisuke is the man I've chosen to lead the Crimson Troops, Hi Hinata." This surprised the former bandit, who stammered in response. "Do you really want me to lead your troops into battle, Naruto-sama?" "You're the best and most logical choice because you know the men better than anyone else in this room and know what their skills and capabilities are, as well as how far you can push them, and the men respect you, according to Shunsui, Kenpachi, and Yoruichi." Thank you, Naruto-sama, I will not fail you," Daisuke stated earnestly, bowing to Naruto. "I know you won't. Now I need you to go through the files of the 6 platoons and select a single man from each platoon to lead that unit as one of your lieutenants. Choose wisely, as you need men who are not only brave, strong, and smart, but also a man that the troops in each platoon will follow and respect. Also, start breaking camp, as I want our forces to leave tomorrow for the Spring Country." "I'll take care of it right away, Naruto-sama," Daisuke replied before gathering the files and exiting the tent. "Alright, I'm tired of waiting. I want to know which of these Akatsuki assholes I'll be fighting, and he better be powerful." Kenpachi exclaimed impatiently. "The man you're up against is Kakuzu, Zaraki. Is he strong enough to kill me in the fight?" The eye-patch-wearing Shinigami inquired, almost giddy with excitement. "Yes, he can. Kakuzu is nearly impossible to kill, and in terms of strength, he once fought and survived against Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage and founder of my village, who is widely regarded as the strongest shinobi to have ever lived. This Akatsuki member possesses exceptional combat skills and a wide range of techniques, as well as being a complete psychopath. I can assure you, Kenpachi, that he will give you the bloody and violent fight you crave." Kenpachi's reaction to hearing this was a wicked grin from ear to ear. "But how about the rest of us?" Sasuke inquired. "After researching various Akatsuki members, I've decided on the following individuals and who they will face in the upcoming battle." As everyone waited to find out who their opponent would be, the room fell silent like a shroud of death. Naruto broke the silence by clearing his throat and announcing, "The Akatsuki's leader is Madara, and he will be your and my opponent, Sasuke." As Naruto continued on, Both Naruto and Sasuke exchanged glances before nodding in agreement. Kakashi, you will have to face. I will face Obito. Kakashi declared authoritatively, leaving no room for doubt in his tone of voice. I figured as much. Yes, Obito will be your opponent, Naruto smirked before continuing. Shunsui, you will fight Orochimaru. The straw-hatted Shinigami simply nodded his head in agreement. Yoruichi, you will face Yakushi Kabuto, the Snake Tomi's protege. That sounds like fun. The Neko woman remarked. Don't underestimate Kabuto, because if you do, you'll die, Naruto warned emphatically. You will face the Akatsuki member Deidara, Kurenai-sensei, with Momo assisting you. Kurenai and Momo exchanged glances and nodded. Ino, Akaku, and Yumachika will fight Zetsu. Before nodding to Naruto, Ino cast a glance over at the bald Shinigami and his effeminate companion. At long last, Hinata, Sakura, and Kira will command the medical platoon. Sakura, I'd like to thank you for your assistance in our fight to liberate the Spring Country. Hello, Naruto, Sakura replied timidly, still unsure what to say to her former teammate and boyfriend from a long time ago. How about me, Naruto? Yugito inquired, perplexed by the prospect of not facing an opponent. Yugito, with your speed in your Jinchuriki form of the two-tailed Nibi, I need you to be a wildcard and go from battle to battle, assisting anyone who is in trouble in their fight. Kitty Cat, don't even think about assisting me in my fight. If you do, I'll gut you like a fish in a heartbeat. Kenpachi issued a warning. Fine, you can assist everyone except Zaraki. Naruto groaned angrily before adding. Now I want you to take these files I have on each of your Akatsuki opponents and thoroughly study them. They contain all of your opponent's strengths and weaknesses and should provide you with the information you need to develop a strategy against them. As everyone gathered their files and prepared to leave the tent to study them, Naruto approached Yugito and nervously inquired. Yugito-chan, I was wondering if you could join me for dinner tonight? Do you mean have dinner with Hinata and Ino? No, just the two of us. Are you asking me out on a date, Naruto-kun? Yugito stammered a question, hoping her excitement wasn't evident in her tone of voice. Well. I guess I'm asking you out on a date. I would love to join you for dinner, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled brightly before lowering his head and kissing Yugito on the cheek, causing her to blush profusely as he held the tent flap open for her and they joined the others outside.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.